you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since graduation?
Um, since after the game, I literally moved back home the next day. I was already graduated from the year before, so we literally flew up to Oregon. I'd say about 5, 6 hours later, driving down to California. But overall, I've just been training here twice a day. I do my running exercise from about 7 to 9 in the morning, and then I train the high school team at my old high school, and then from about 3:30 to about 5 o'clock, do my lifting.
Can you talk about a little bit about the title game and how it's kind of prepped you for some of the challenges that you face ahead with potentially the NFL and
Well, the title game, it was something special. Just knowing that this was the last college football game that we played for the whole year, millions of people are watching it. Other players that you grew up with that went to different schools, they're watching your every move because you know they're going to critique you after the game. So you just really wanted to play your best. For me, it didn't really catch me until probably the second quarter, just at a timeout. I was just looking around and just seeing the excitement on our fans and even the Auburn fans, knowing that this is the national championship. This is for the crystal ball. It's for everything. And that just made you want to go into that second drive and just pretty much give it your all, because for me, it was my last college football game ever. And unfortunately, we didn't come out with the win, but it was a good experience.
does it still sting a little bit thinking about the results of the game?
Yeah, it does sting, but the fact that it came down to a last-second field goal and a freak misplay where some people say his wrist was down, some people say his wrist wasn't down. The fact that it came down to a field goal, I can live with that, because that doesn't mean we got blown out. That didn't get overpowered. It literally came down to that last play. It could have went either way. So for my team to go out there and bang heads with Auburn, the SEC, everybody thinks the SEC is the most powerful conference. I feel like even though we lost the game, we pretty much gained respect from the whole country.
From what you know about this year's team, how do you think that they'll do?
I think they'll have, if not the same success, close to it. Saying they'll make it back to national championship, that can be a reach, if depending on who you're talking to. But we do have the tools to get back there. We still have a good offense. We need to retool the offensive line because we have some young guys stepping in. The defensive guys, they lost myself, Casey Matthews, Bryson Littlejohn, Thomas Jackson, just to name a few. Our whole scheme was we like to rotate about 3 to 4 people at every different position. So even the people think they're young guys, that they're redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomore, true juniors or so, they've gotten a lot of reps from the past 2 years, 1 year or so. So I'm fully confident that they'll still be at the top of the Pac-10.
And how do you think that the team will translate what they learned from the national championship into this next season?
It's going to make them more hungry. Prior to this season, when we lost to the Rose Bowl to Terrell Pryor and Ohio State, that just made us want to go into the offseason and work that much harder, because we were that close to getting our BCS ring. A lot of people thought that we got steamrolled by Ohio State, that we just got absolutely murdered by them, but they forget that we were leading going into the fourth quarter. It was a closer game than people thought. But just losing national championship to the guys on the team is going to make them that much more hungrier to run that extra yard or to make that extra catch, just to really focus on detail to try to get back to where they were.
So having gotten to the top last year, how much pressure does this team feel to get back into the BCS title game? And would it be a letdown if they didn't make it back to that big stage this season?
There will be pressure there. I mean, it's going to be spotlight even from the first game against LSU. That can potentially have national championship hopes to it. There will be pressure there, but the best thing about our coaches is they pretty much distilled in us that we don't have to worry about the outside world. All we can worry about is what we do in between the lines of the football field. I mean, of course, we've had our issues off the field and everything, but once it comes down to playing football, crossing over to that line into the football field, we need to tone everything out and just play the game.
Oregon's offense has always been in the spotlight, but as you know, defense was obviously a lot of the reason that you guys were so successful last year. But now, like you mentioned, some of the main players on defense, such as yourself, Casey Matthews, and others that you mentioned, are not there anymore. So how does this year's team compare, and which players should fans look out for to sort of fill your shoes?
I feel like they're, to answer the last question first. They'll fare really well. I mean, like I said previously, we have young guys there, but those young guys have gotten a million reps. Prematurely, I'll tip my hat off to Terrence Mitchell. Since Cliff Harris is out, I think that Terrence Mitchell would go in and get that starting nod for the LSU game. And for him, he's a young guy. He's a redshirt freshman. Me and Casey Matthews, when he first came in, we knew that he was going to be something special. We actually wanted him to play last year, but he got an ankle injury last year and decided to redshirt him. But when he first came into that spring ball, we knew that this young kid was special. So for a lot of people to say we don't know how the secondary is going to be because Cliff Harris is out, I think Terrence Mitchell can do just as good, if not better, than Cliff Harris. Another guy is Michael Clay. He's been my backup for 2 years. He's going to be a true junior. He's a smart kid. He can be a leader. And I just have the utmost respect for him because he came in, he learned the system within a couple weeks, and he was ready to play. I think the team will fare well.
All right, so most fans would assume that Oregon's offense would remain one of the nation's best. Do you see any holes there? And again, which kind of more unknown players do you see emerging on offense that fans should keep an eye out for this year?
I mean, obviously I'm a senior and I left when they were coming in, but just watching their highlights, they have a lot of speed. It's a lot of young speed. They can get down the field really fast. Their highlights speak for themselves. So you will see, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago when Casey and Jeff Mayo and Malachi Lewis and those players play as a true freshman, you'll see that same effect, a lot of freshmen getting reps in because we are down on receiver this year. We lost Jeff Mayo, we lost Drew Davis. Coming back now, we have LT as pretty much the veteran and Josh Huff as the veteran. But we do have about 3 or 4 really good young freshmen that can come in and play right away.
One of the most intriguing things about Oregon, at least kind of on a national level, is Chip Kelly's coaching style. What is it about his methods, both on and off the field, that help make the team so successful?
It's just his attention to detail. Every day he used to ask us, did everybody make their bed in the morning? Or did everybody touch the O outside the stadium? Just to try to instill that the little things, if you take care of the little things, the bigger things fall into place. So whether it's foot placement on a tackle, hand placement on a tackle, or where you're looking at to catch the ball, he really focused on the little things. It wasn't, if you caught the ball, it was totally fine. You wanted to catch the ball the right way. You wanted to throw the ball the right way. You wanted to tackle the right way. So it really went down to little things. And off the field, it was the same thing. That if you're hanging out with your friends, make sure somebody's a designated driver because we all know college players over 21, maybe some under 21, do like to drink. It was just be responsible when you're drinking. I mean, college coaches, they can't restrict you from drinking like that, but if you get caught drinking, you will have to pay the consequences. So just be responsible in all aspects of your life.
And do you feel like that kind of translates into how you live your life now and how you see yourself living your life in the future?
Yeah. I mean, we have a bunch of sayings. Win the day, fast, hard, finish. I can go on forever with all the little sayings we have. And even though some of the sayings just got really boring, it really changed that every day when I wake, just pretty much when I'm working out, knowing I have to get that last rep, knowing I have to finish strong. So it has pretty much retooled me into focusing on the little things because it will take care of the big things.
One of the biggest fears for Duck fans is that Chip Kelly would maybe no longer be the coach. What impact would it have on Oregon if Chip Kelly did leave and left for the NFL? And do you think that Chip Kelly would make it as an NFL coach?
Truthfully, I think he'd make it anywhere. Whether he was the head of a Pizza Hut down the street or the coach for the Cowboys or something. I think his methods, his style of coaching, his way of teaching can succeed in any business, in any market. SEC, Pac-10, Big 12, well, Pac-12. That he likes to get the best out of people, and he brings out the best in people. But as far as him not being there, I think it'll be hard for them to get rid of him just because his overall success. I mean, he has had some letdowns now and then, but if you think about it, it's players messing up. It's not him messing up. Like, he can't control what somebody's doing at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and I won't get into the whole Willie Miles thing, but for the most part, if you base it off of just him, his methods, his winning strategy, he can win anyway.
Do you still keep in touch with your teammates that you graduated with?
Yeah, I mean, we all have our own schedules, so it's hard to actually get on the phone or shoot a text and get a response, stuff like that. But I've seen Casey Matthews a couple times, Michael Clay and John Boyette and Jackson Rice. They did drive down to Los Angeles and stay with Casey for a couple days, so went out and hung out with them. I talk through text to Brandon Bear every now and then, to Drew Davis. My roommate, Chad Peppers, he actually lives only about 10 minutes away from me, so I see him all the time. Brian Butterfield, who's my other best friend besides Chad Peppers, he comes down to LA, or we'll meet somewhere for a little vacation somewhere. So I do communicate with a bunch of them. And we do have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have all these social media sites where you're only one text away. So
with this last question, with the most recent news of the NFL lockout probably ending, since you've been training so much, do you see yourself going to try out for teams and hopefully signing with one of them? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I think I have a good chance for it. On draft day and the days leading up to draft day, I talked to about 15 teams, and just all talking about that I'm on their radar, and there's a bunch of stuff that goes into drafting somebody. And maybe a team doesn't need an outside linebacker, but will take one. Maybe a team doesn't need one, but they won't take one. Just a lot of things that go into it. But I did talk to about 15 teams the days before the draft, and I want to say about 6 teams on draft day. And I won't say which teams right now, because I don't want to jinx myself.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do have a decent chance that once the lockout is over, the owners literally just approved the lockout today. So hopefully in the next couple of days, you'll see my name in the news somewhere, going somewhere.